Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and future and current entrepreneurs. How are you guys doing this morning? Can you guys hear me? Can I please see some reactions if you can hear me? Okay, I see some thumbs up. Can I just have maybe 2, 3 people that said I can hear you on the chat box? Come on, guys. Can you guys hear me? Let's get some reactions. I can hear you. Thank you, Cabello. Anybody else? Thank you, Pezeko. I can hear you. One more person. Are guys there? Am I only with 2 people today? I can hear you. All right, awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 6-week Start Your Business Bootcamp, brought to you by myself, Jody Awasi, the Transformation Consulting in Africa Cocoon. This week is officially week number 4. This is basically the second half of this 6 weeks training. We have been in it for 3 weeks so far. Can you give yourself a round of applause? Give yourself a round of applause. We've been in it for 3 weeks. Give yourself a round of applause. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right, guys, I can see you guys are a little bit shy. Your response is a little bit shy. Hopefully, as we go forward, you'll respond a little bit more. So this is our 4th week. This is the beginning of the second half of this entire experience. But I wanted us, like I promised last week, I wanted us to take a little bit of time to reflect, take a little bit of time to get feedbacks from you guys, take a little bit of time to hear from you. So Akane is going to be kind enough to unmute some of our mics because I want to hear from you. It's been 3 weeks so far. We've been in this experience for 3 weeks. What has been your biggest experience with us so far? What has been the great experience that you've had out of this program so far? What have you learned? What have you appreciated most? And what are you looking forward to the end of this experience? If you would like to participate, I'm going to give us a few minutes before we go into what we're going to share today. I want to get some feedbacks. If you are too shy to voice yourself out, there's the chat box. You can put your comment. But if you would like to talk on behalf of your team, from a personal level, what have you learned? What has been your biggest experience so far with this training? You know, what are you looking forward to? Really, I want to hear you guys. I want to get a feedback. I want to get some feedbacks today. Today's session shouldn't be as long as the others because it's very much intellectual, so I don't want to bombard with too much information. But guys, I want to hear your feedback. What's been your biggest experience? Can I hear some feedback? Can I get some people? Where you guys at? Where are you guys? You guys are very shy today.
If you want to say something on the mic, just raise your hand so that I can enable your mic for you to unmute. It's the long weekend.
Yes, much better. Are you guys, this is the long weekend, should we reschedule? Come on, guys, where you at? Where are those people? Where are your comments? Don't tell me you guys are not online. You guys got data.
Sinazo, Masimange, Nokolo, Mabula. Come on, guys. Let's hear your feedback.
If you can't say it, at least type it.
That's awesome, Sina, so that you can hear us. We want to hear your feedback. Tell us what you've learned in the program and how it's been for you so far. Should I unmute your mic so that you tell us, or do you want to type it in the chat box? We'll not call the people out.
Yes, you don't have to use word for word, just your experience. Maybe your comment would be, it's been nice so far. Let's keep it going. That could be your comment. I just want to hear feedback. Most of the time we spend 2 hours and it's just me talking, but I don't get to hear you guys. Today, I want to hear you guys.
No one is responding. I wonder why. Everyone is asleep.
Guys, where are we today? Come on. Guys, I won't start until I get feedback. Come on. Where's everybody?
Well, Sinazo has said something on the chat box.
What did she say? Please read it.
I have learned how to interact with customers and know my target market and how to compete with my competitors. Good one.
Perfect. All right, that's what we shared last week. Can you please also give feedback on everything overall? Not just on what we shared last week, but from the beginning. We've been sharing quite great insights. So I want to hear from you guys.
Guys, I'm sure you're not online just to not say anything. And we see where there's a go, come on guys, JK, Masimange, Ntoswendle. Is there anyone from that side that wants to say anything? Nokulunga, Nomzamo, Notolo, Ntwanano, Perfect, Tema. Come on, guys, let's hear your responses.
Say hi, we are here at, so how do I pronounce that, please? Flo Wednesday. All right, guys, probably Flo Wednesday. Can I have your feedbacks? Can somebody text something? Can somebody say something? I want to hear what you guys have learned.
So I guess we have to call out their names for them to respond.
People like, listen, we've got time today, so I want to hear your feedback. I don't just want to begin to continue to blabber. Thank you. Let's get them more coming. What? Yeah.
Okay, so we have, Joswin there, they say, hi, we're here, and Joswin there, that's awesome, that's awesome. We want to hear what you have learned, and what the candidates have learned from the program. Fezeko says, deep dive, what makes my product or service unique? How does my product or service help people? That is what he or she learned. Not Paula says, learned who is your ideal client or customers, why you should define your offerings, defining the product. Sinazo says, I also learned that everything around us can be turned into business, like recycling things. That's a good one. Kwananda says, I have learned how to start your own business and how to engage with customers. Not all also says difference between customer and consumer. I learned how to understand customers. That's good.
I like that. Listen, guys, thank you so much for those feedback. One other thing I wanted to ask you now, outside of your learning, what are your expectations going forward? What are your expectations for the next 3 lessons? What are you expecting? What would you like to see more of? Thank you for those. You can keep sharing what you've learned, but I also want to hear, even from the same people, what are your expectations going forward? What are you looking forward to learning? Maybe a topic that you feel we haven't touched yet. Somebody says, I'm struggling to hear you. I don't hear a single word. Oh, you must be the only one there, friend.
Yeah.
Must be next to the time.
Logging out and logging back in again. Maybe you'll be able to hear us once you log in again.
You're not responding. I need the response. All right, guys.
Kemba says, I understand the difference between service and product. That is awesome.
What are your expectations going forward, guys? What would you like to see more of or hear more of? In any way, feel free. Maybe you want more data, give us your feedback. Maybe you want us to meet face to face. Let's hear you. You're quiet today. It must really be this long weekend fever.
Well, I see Thomas said I did receive the airtime, but not the data. The airtime was supposed to be what you use to buy data, because different networks have different packages for the data that is required. So what we do is that we send out a standard amount for airtime for everyone, and then you would use that airtime to buy data for the classes. Hope that makes sense. Sinazo said, I'm not sure if I'm answering the right answer. I wish that you guys could help me grow my business. That was the question. Maybe be a little more specific, grow it how? Because I think over the 3 weeks, that was the intention with the content that we were giving you, is to grow your business. So maybe give us a bit more information in how you would like to see that play out or happen. Don't be shy, guys. Tell us what it is that you are anticipating, what you're expecting. Like Chloe said, today is going to be a shorter session. There's a lot of time for us to have those discussions on what you learned and what you hope to gain in the upcoming classes. So we want it to be very interactive, responsive. So tell us what you're thinking, what you want, and there's no wrong answer. It's honestly what you want. And we would like to hear what it is that you would want to hear, what you would want to gain, and what you would like to see in the upcoming weeks. It seems like we're talking to Sinazo alone today because he's the only one that's responsive. Okay, thank you, Notolo. We see that as well. Please keep the responses coming. Sinazo says, I already own a shop. It is now 4 months old. Nice. I'm struggling to buy stock and pay rent. It hasn't grown to what I want because of financial struggles. I think Jody can put in a word over there before I read the next comment, or let me just read the next comment. My expectations is to help us by funding or create some workshop that will help us engage live and see each other work as a team. Like live sessions, live masterclasses is basically what you want. And the CEO says, I am expecting to be a good entrepreneur. Start my business with a good understanding of how to interact with customers. That's a good one as well. You're on the right track. Temba says, I'm hoping I can get all the tools I need to make my work more simple and fast. Got that one as well. Anyone else? Let's maybe have 3 more before we continue. So let's have 3 more come in. Come on, guys. I see there's new people that just joined. Today's session, we're calling people out by name. So if you think you're not responding today, today's not the day not to respond. So let's keep the comments coming. Tandolwe too just joined us. Tell us, what do you expect from the sessions and what have you learned from the past 3 weeks? And what have you applied and what are you expecting from the sessions in the weeks to come? There's no wrong answer, guys. So if you're shy because you're afraid of saying the wrong answer, there is no wrong answer. All of you are right. And if you're not, Lodi will correct you. So let's keep those comments coming. Temba says, hope you also provide work in centers. Okay, I think I understand that, but Lodi will touch on it some more. We have 1, now we need 2 more. 2 more. Now it sounds like an auction, guys, because everybody's so quiet. So let's have 2 more comments. Masimang, thank you for responding. My expectation is to start my business and be able to serve my community. I love that. I love that because that is one of the reasons why this program for entrepreneurs was started. And if you noticed, or you probably did notice, a lot of your homework was challenging you to go into your community, find a problem, find a solution for that problem, see how that problem can be profitable. and that is a good expectation, and you are also on the right track to meet those expectations. So let's see if we can get one more and maybe push it to two. Let's see if we can get one more comment, one more response. Anyone else? I'm gonna go to the list and call you guys by name, especially those who haven't responded yet. And Siwe, are you still there with us? And Siwe, let's see your comments. What do you expect from the sessions, or what have you learned from the sessions that you would like to highlight and share with us? Dana, thank you. Let's see. I would like to see myself running my own business and having all the necessary things, always at least my business can provide job for my community. That's awesome. Since the problem is in our community, that's a good one. Being a job creator is why you're in this program, and that is what we would like you to be after the program. And there's still more surprises to be announced. It is an exciting one. That is why I'm saying, all of you who are posting your expectations, you're honestly on the right track, and those expectations will be met as long as you are active, doing your homework, and just applying yourself in the program and applying yourself in the homeworks as well. Temba says, hoping to give the youth that smoke drugs a chance to learn and keep busy and make money. That is a really good one. That is a really good one. That is what we want to do within our communities and really just change that narrative for a lot of people. Your responses are so great. Let me go back to, and you see where I'm still on you, also because your name starts with an A. So let me see your response.
Wow, that's good. Good job, Akani. I think you should actually take my job here. All right, guys, thank you so much for your feedback. So we hear you. We've seen your expectations. And I think one of the key expectations from the majority of us here is to start a business and that business will be successful. That is why we're having this boot camp, so that by the end of this sharing, you would have been able to start your business with well-equipped knowledge. And I know for most of you that already have businesses running, your biggest desire, your biggest expectation is funding. If you would remember in the beginning when I was presenting to you guys this bootcamp, I said that if you stay the course up until the end, you do your homework, you provide us with the feedback that we need, there's going to be a reward for a few of us who stick to the end. And some of the reward will be access to funding. We are currently sitting with our clients that need to spend in support of small businesses. We have been pitching to them that we may be looked at as the prepared spend suppliers. So we are putting together budgets and fundings with our clients so that we can be able to assist only deserving participants. For you to access the funding that we're going to have, you'll have to be a deserving participant. So the lady who said that, she's got a business, she wants funding, stick through, keep submitting homework, keep pushing your business, funding is on the way, as well as for everybody else. All right. So with that being said, we wanted to give ourselves at least 15 minutes to exchange. You guys were a bit shy today. Nobody was brave enough like last week asking for them to be unmuted so that we can hear their voice. But be that as it may, I'm glad that some of you guys responded. I'm going to share my screen now because I will be the one who is going to be training us this very morning. For the past 3 weeks, we've learned on different topics. Week 1, as you guys will remember, we learned on personal branding and clarifying your why. And I told you at that point in time, we were focusing on ourselves as the individual because we understood that the business is part of the individual. In week 2, we learned on, product deep dive, finessing your unique products and its values. And then in week 3, which was last week's session, we can remind me what we learned fresh out of the box. Last week, we learned on people and prospect. who exactly is your product for and how can you speak directly to them. This coming week, we have a bit of an intense exchange that we're going to talk about. And I'm just going to share, the screen. I'm just going to join in and share my screen. Are we excited to learn? All right, I just have to mute myself. All right, I'm going to share my screen. All right, so this week, we're going to learn on price, determining your price, collecting payments, and tracking sales. So like guys, as you will see, everything is just a build up. We started off by discussing what was important to us as an individual. Then we spoke about, product financing. Then we spoke about who were your customers. But today we want to speak about pricing. If you're ready for us to start, I want to just get 3 people that will just type their pricing. Pricing, Pricing, pricing. We want to talk about pricing. So we've understood who our customers and who our consumers are. Now we want to understand pricing. Yes, I see that all of them reacting quickly. Pricing. That's always a big question that everybody asks themselves: how to price your product. Where is everybody else? I need 3 more comments at least. Pricing, just write pricing so we can start. Today we learn on pricing. Thank you, Fezeko. One more person and we can shoot in the interest of time. Stinazo, thank you. Pricing. So today we're going to learn on pricing. In the summary, what we're going to learn is that value and price are 2 different things. In this session, we work together to price your product or your service in a way that feels good, working backwards from your income goals to determine what is an ideal price for your product, to make sure you are logistically setting your business up for success. We will also be reviewing some pricing models and some payment platforms that you can use to start collecting your payment. And lastly, we'll talk about the importance of tracking payment and the best ways to do it. Are we ready? All right, now the first topic of discussion this morning is pricing your product or your service. How to price your product or your service. The first thing I need us to know is that the price that you charge for your product or your service is one of the most important decisions you make. The price that you charge for your product or your service is one of the most important decisions you make. Setting a price that is too high or price that is too low will at best limit your business growth. All right, guys. And at worst, it could cause serious problems for your sales and cash flow. Now, if you're starting a business, carefully consider your pricing strategy before you start. Many of you guys right now are in a very fortunate position where you are actually thinking about starting a business. You've gone in your environment, you've looked at the problems, you've looked at ways you can turn that problem into a solution. Now, the next thing is, how do you turn that problem that you identified into your community into a solution, and how do you monetize your solution? How do you price your solution to the problem you've identified in your community or your environment? And if you're starting a business, you have to carefully consider your pricing strategy. An established business can improve their profitability through regular pricing review. Now, when setting your prices, You must make sure that the price and the sales level you set allow your business to be profitable. You must always have profit in mind when you set the price of your product or your service. You must also take note of where your product or your service stands when compared to your competition. That's why I say if you price it too high, you could be in trouble, or if your price is too low, you could be selling yourself short. So always have profit in mind, but when you decide to price, because pricing your product or your service is the most important decision that you'll make. And as we go through this teaching, this session, we're going to learn more of that. Now, the difference that I want us to focus on as well is in understanding how the importance of pricing your product or your service. I want us to also focus on the difference between cost and value. All right? Knowing the difference between cost and value can increase profitability. Now, what is cost? What is value? Your cost is the cost of your product or service. You know, the cost of your product or service is the amount you spend to produce it. And the price is your financial reward for providing product or service. Then the value is what your customer believes the product or service is worth to them. All right, I want to repeat that again, okay? So we want to differentiate between, cost of value. You hear people sometimes speak about cost of sales, the value of a product or the value of my service, and the price of my product. What exactly are they talking about? Number one, when you talk about cost is the cost of your product or service, the amount that you spend. So the amount that you spend to have to produce your product is your cost to company. So an example, let's say you need to make chairs. You can't just make chairs out of nothing. You have to buy wood. So the amount that you spend to buy the wood, which you use to make the chair, that is your cost. All right. Now, your price is the financial reward for providing the product or service. So let's say you've now made this chair and you price this chair to be 100 Rand. That is the price. That is the reward for making the chair. And the value is what your customer believes the product or service is worth to them. All right. If they feel like maybe you made a wooden chair, and some people make chairs covered with cushion. So the value of the chair is determined by the customer, who will say, you know what, I prefer a chair with cushion because it helps me rest my back. All right, guys. So it's important for you to know that cost is different from value and cost is different from price. Cost is how much you spend to make the product, and price is how much you charge for the made product. Value is what your client who receives your product estimates to be. All right. For example, let's take an example here. For example, the cost of a plumber to fix the pipe at a customer's home may be 5 Rand for travel. I think this example here that I put here is actually just what I explained to you. All right. So I will skip that. Now, to maximize your profitability, remember I said when you are talking about pricing, always have profit in mind. If you made a chair that you're charging 100 Rand for, you need to ask yourself, how much does it cost me to make the chair? If it costs you 40 Rand to make the chair and you charge 100 Rand to sell the chair, it means you've made a profit of how much? You've made a profit of 60 Rand. So always have your profit in mind when you are putting price for your product or your service. Now, to maximize your profitability, you need to find out what benefits your customers gain from using your product or your service, the criteria your customers use for buying decision, for example, speed of delivery, convenience or reliability, or what value your customers place on receiving the benefits you provide. Wherever possible, set prices that reflect the value you provide, not just the cost. So as an entrepreneur or as an aspiring entrepreneur, I want to encourage us in everything that we do, even when we are pitching and we are making sales to our community, when you're trying to pitch your product, always focus on value. When you talk about your business, always focus on value. Don't dwell a lot on the cost, focus on value because customers buy value. All right, guys. Now, the next point of discussion here is covering fixed and variable costs. Okay. Fixed and variable costs. Now, every business needs to cover its cost in order to make a profit. And working out your cost accurately is an essential part of working out your pricing. So today, we're going to talk a lot about pricing. If at any point in time, some of the things that I mentioned are too deep or too complex to understand, please write down your questions on the comment section. We'll come back and explain it deeper. All right? Now, what you need to do when you talk about covering fixed cost and variable cost, you have to divide your cost under two headings: fixed costs and variable costs. This is important for you as an aspiring or current entrepreneur to know, because these are essentially the realities that you face as you decide to run your business. Now, what is a fixed cost? Fixed costs are those costs that are always there, regardless of how much or how little you sell. An example of fixed costs could be your rent, could be salaries, and could be business charges that you get from clients. So fixed costs are costs that are always going to incur in your business. If you are renting a space, even if you don't make money that month, you still have to pay rent. If you've got employees, whether you made money or not, you have to pay them their salaries. So those are fixed costs. So what is variable cost? Variable costs are those costs that arises as your sales increase, such as additional raw materials, extra labor, transportation, So the more your costs increases, your sales increase, the more your variable cost increase. So let's say in the beginning, you only used to make one chair, but now your business is growing. Now you need to make, you used to make one chair per day. Now your business is growing and now you have to make 10 chairs a day. What does that mean? Your sales has increased, therefore you have to buy more raw materials, you have to buy more wood. You need extra hands. Now you have to hire more people so that they can help you make more chairs. So when you set a price, it must be higher than the variable cost of producing your product or service, because each sale will then make contribution toward covering your fixed cost and making profits. Did you understand that? So your fixed cost remains standard. It's what you have to pay for every month. You have to pay for rent, you have to pay for Wi-Fi, but your variable cost increases as your sales increases. So you have to make sure that the price that you set, so you don't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to start a crash and I'm going to charge people 200 rand to leave their children here. No. That, based on what calculation, based on what reasoning did you give that, did you give that price? So you have to consider, if I'm going to charge people 200 rand to leave their kids in my crash, how much is my rent? How much is my, my fixed cost? And how much am I paying? Because if people come with 10 children and I need more employees, how much am I going to pay them? So your pricing is always aligned to your fixed and variable cost. Let me ask you guys a question. Has it ever happened to you to see a product at a shop in a mall and see that product at a spaza shop or maybe a shop? I don't know. I know not all of you guys are in Joburg, but let me use this example. If you ever seen a product in a mall, let's say in Sandton, and then you see a product in Small Street, they are the very same product, but the pricing are different. Let's say you see a suit being sold in a shop in Sandton for 5,000 rand. But when you go to China Mall, that very same suit is being sold for 2,000 Rand. Have you ever seen that? Why do you think, I would appreciate some feedback so I know that I'm not talking to myself. Have you ever seen some price differences? A product in the street, yes, thank you, Masimane. A price in a shop, in a mall, different from the price of a product in a street, We know why is that? The difference is when these people who are in a mall price the same product, they have the price of their rent in mind, and they have the price of their employees. The guy who's selling in Chinatown, his rent per month could be 500, but the guy in Sandton is maybe, let's say, 5,000. So it's normal that their fees will be different, though the product be the same. Or the guy who's selling in a small street, his stands per month there is 100 Rand, but the guy in Sandton has to pay his salaries. The guy in small street is selling it himself. So your fixed cost and your variable cost is what dictates how much you decide to charge. And this is very important for us to understand, guys. Don't just wake up one morning and say, because everybody's charging 1,000 to produce a website, I'll also charge 1,000. Or you know what, since I'm small, let me charge 900. What did you use? What did you consider? What did you calculate, And you can't be there, you know what, these big guys, big companies are charging 5,000, I'll also charge 5,000. But you don't have the same name, you don't have the same, you don't have the same variable cost as them. The only reason why small businesses should charge less than big businesses, though they render the same service, is because you don't have the same fixed costs and you don't have the same variable costs. That's what dictates how you charge for your business in comparison to those that have been there before you. Am I making sense to somebody? So don't just wake up one morning and say, this is how people charge, that's how I'm going to charge. Am I making sense? All right. The next point of discussion is cost plus versus value-based pricing. All right. There are two basic methods of pricing. Remember, we'll talk about pricing. There are two basic methods of pricing your product and services. The one is cost plus, and the second is value-based pricing. The best choice depends on your type of business, what influences your customers to buy, and the nature of your competition. So let's go deeper on it. What is cost plus pricing? This takes the cost of producing your product or service and adds an amount that you need to make a profit. This is usually expressed as a percentage of the cost. It is generally more suited to businesses that deal with large volumes or which operate in markets that are dominated by competition on price. But cost plus pricing ignores your image and market positioning, and hidden costs are easily forgotten, so your true profit per sale is often lower than you realize. All right, I'm going to say that again. This kind of pricing method, perhaps not something that you might have to worry yourself too much at this level, but it is usually the cost of producing your product or service added with an amount that needs to make a profit. Value-based pricing, this focuses on the price you believe customers are willing to pay based on the benefits your business offers them. Like I said, guys, focus on value when you talk about your business. Value-based pricing depends on the strength of the benefits you can prove you offer to customers. If you have a clearly defined benefit that you give as an advantage over your competitors, you can charge according to the value you offer customers, all right? While this approach can prove very profitable, it can also alienate potential customers who are driven only by price. But in this day and age, dear friends, most clients are focused on value. They want to buy products on value. And I know some people are, all about price. That's why you need to know your customers, like we said last time. Know who's your target market. Is your target market price-based or is your target market value-based? If your target market is price-based, which means the only way you can entice them is by lowering your prices or making your prices favorable. But if your target market is value-based, then the only way you can touch them is by always talking about value your product brings. Now, the next point of discussion is how to build a pricing strategy. You need to decide whether to use cost plus or value-based pricing. That's the first step in building your pricing strategy. It is important to find out what your competitors offer and what they charge. If you phone your rivals and ask them for a quote, you can use this information as a framework. It is probably unwise to set your prices too high, too much higher or lower without a good reason, that I explained in the previous slide. If you price too low, you will just be throwing away profit. If you price too high, you will lose customers unless you can offer them something they can't get elsewhere. All right. The perception of your product or your service is also very important. In many markets, a high price contributes to the perception of your product being premium value. This might encourage customers to buy from you, or it might deter price-conscious customers. So there's always that win or lose, guys, in your pricing. If you price too high, there's a perception that it must be a great product, so some people will buy it because of the value they esteem it's going to bring. But if you price it too high, you might then lose some people that are price conscious. If you also price it too low, those who are value-based might think, a low price means low in value. So it's really always tricky. Yeah, but whatever price you set, check that you cover your cost and deliver profit. In whatever price that you set for whatever product or service that you render, always check for two things: that you covered your cost, and we explained what cost is. Cost is the amount of money you use to make your product, and you've also covered your profit. Always important. Now let's look at different pricing tactics. There are different pricing tactics that can help you attract more customers and maximize profits. This pricing tactic that I'm going to share with you now has been used by many corporate companies, and it's even used now on us on a daily basis. Maybe you don't pay attention to it, but I'm calling to attention. There are different pricing tactics. So we spoke about the importance of knowing how to price, what to consider when you price. But I also want you to know that there are different pricing tactics that you can use to attract more customers and maximize profit. The first pricing tactic you can use is discounting. Discounting is when you offer specially reduced prices. Offering specially reduced prices can be a powerful tool. This could be a clearance discount to sell old stock, a discount for making multiple purchases of the same or similar product. I mean, you see this tactics a lot used by like big way, I know some people, they just only go to Centen when they sales. Because only when Zara has sales, or when Markham has sales, when Foschini has sales, there's going to be prices that are discounted. I mean, something that you would normally achieve that you would buy for 1,500, when they use the discounting tactic, you buy it for 350. Now, when you're using the discounting tactic, there's something that you need to consider. I don't want to bombard you with it today, but you must consider it's no longer just about the price of one product, but it's about the amount of money you make when you accumulate all the products. So most of the time, companies discount their prices, especially in malls, because they want to get rid of old stock, or those big size that nobody's buying. So rather sell it than keep it and nobody purchases it. So discounting is a big one. And also sometimes, some companies, this is such a big strategy that often they use during Black Friday. Some companies don't actually discount. All they do is they tell you that the price is discounted, but in reality, it's not. All right. So the other tactic is called odd value pricing. This is using the retailer's tactic of selling the product for, let's say, 9.99 instead of 10 Rand. Can be useful if price is an essential part of customers' buying decision. Some customers perceive odd value prices like this as being more attractive. Did you guys get that? So the first one we spoke about discounting. The second one is odd value pricing. So instead of you charging a fee of 10 Rand, you can actually charge a fee that says 9 Rand 99. You know, if you notice that in ShopRite, something will be, a product will be 10, 11 Rand 99. And why not just make it 12 Rand? And sometimes we buy it because that is actually more attractive. And then the next pricing technique is loss leader. This involves selling a product at a low or even loss-making price. Although you may not make a profit selling this product, you could attract customers who will buy other more profitable products. So sometimes in shops, you'd find products that are literally sold at a loss, but that is done so that customers can be incentivized to buy other product that could be at a gain. Like sometimes when they tell you, buy one, get two. In reality, it's a loss strategy. It's a loss leader strategy where you lose the amount of buying one, but you gain two. Then the next tactic is skimming. If you have a unique price of product, you can sell it at a high price. This is known as skimming. But you need to make sure that what you're selling is unique. Otherwise, you may just price yourself out of the market if there's incredible competition. A business that uses skimming is, what's his name again? I forgot the gentleman's name. Ooh, can you guys help me? There's a gentleman who he's a designer. Even Beyonce wore his outfit. He's like a statement. I forgot his name. I don't know if you guys know him online. There's this guy, he's very expensive. Okay, let me use one that I remember easily. S-Mag. What is it? What you call it? Smeg. Smeg. If you guys seen Smeg products, they are kettles, they are they are kitchenries. Smeg. Smeg uses this kind of pricing tactic because they produce unique products and its quality is very high. And though people may complain about them online, but they still raise their price because of the quality of their product. I'm forgetting the gentleman that most South African ways. What's his name? He's a South African designer, and his brand is his name, not David Klein. Just in case someone writes, I forgot his name, but Beyonce also wore his outfit. If you guys remember, you mentioned it to me. So he also uses skimming because his quality of products is high. All right, then there's another kind of pricing tactics which we use. This is called penetration. This is the opposite of skimming. Starting at a low price and gaining the market before competitors catch up with you. Most companies that introduced themselves always start at the low price. I remember when Bolt started in South Africa, they started at a very low price because they wanted to gain the market. And the more people were now consuming their products, the more they started increasing their prices. All right. Are we still here? Are we here? If we're here, can I have thumbs up? I don't want to bombard you with too many information. I want to take a breather. Are we still here? Are we learning? Nice. Now, I want us to talk about, so we spoke about pricing and what to consider when you're pricing. But I want us to talk about the next point here, market price. I see no total, sorry. Yes, network problem, load shedding is killing us. Do you not have data that we sent? I guess also, yeah, the data can still be affected due to load shedding, right? All right, we apologize for that. Just keep connected. All right, so our next point of discussion is market price. What is a market price? You know, in simple English, the market price is the current price at which an asset, a product, or a service can be bought or sold. You know, it's the current price that a product can be bought or sold. I'm sure many of you guys have heard before, you know, terms like market related. You know, what does that mean? You know, the market price of an asset or service is determined by the forces of supply and demand. The price at which quantity supplied equals the quantity demanded is the market price. Okay? What determines the market price in simple English is the supply and demand. You know, the quantity, when the quantity of what is demanded is also the quantity of what is supplied, we call it market price. You guys will have noticed that there is a general normal market price for bread. But when we are running short of bread in the country, a bread that used to be 2 rand, in a month, a bread can even go to becoming 15 rand. I mean, you guys saw the change in market price of cigarettes during COVID, where people couldn't smoke anymore, go buy cigarette. I mean, I heard for people that smoke, you know, cigarettes that is, I don't know what, 10 rand, for example, it was being sold at 90 rand, the market price for the product, because the supply was better than the demand. The price went high. So whenever the supply is more than the demand, the price goes low. But when the demand is more than the supply, the price goes high. Okay? The market price is also used to calculate consumer and economic surplus. Consumer surplus refers to the difference between the highest price the consumer is willing to pay for a good and an actual price they do pay for the good, or the market price. Economic surplus refers to the two related quantities, as consumer surplus and producer surplus. Producer surplus may also be referred to as profit. It is the amount that producers benefit by selling at market price, provided that the market price is higher than the least that they would be willing to sell for. All right, guys? Are we still here? Now, understanding the market price is also very important. Shocks to either the supply or the demand for a good or a service can cause the market price for a good or service to change. A supply shock is an unexpected event that suddenly changes the supply of goods or service. A demand shock is a sudden event that increases or decreases the demand for a good or service. Now, it's very important that you guys understand that when we talk about market price, it's all demand and supply related, you know? And examples of supply shocks are interest rate cuts. You know, so like, for example, right now there's this big panic because the Reserve Bank has just increased the repo rate, which means that the rate at which you have to pay for your houses or things that you have on credit has increased. What means to say you're going to see less and less people demanding to buy houses on credit or buy cars or anything on credit. Because if, for example, in the past, you bought a house where you're paying 10,000 rand a month, because of the increase in the interest rate, now you're going to have to fork out 15,000, for example. That's 5,000 more in your budget. So less and less people want to buy houses. So the market price of a product is always affected by demand and supply. When there's a huge demand for a product and there's no supply, the product value goes up. When there's no demand for the product but big supply, the price of the product goes low. You know, and some examples of demand shocks include the rises in oil or gas prices, political turmoil or natural disasters, all of this affects, market prices. All right. Now that we've done discussing pricing and market pricing, I wanted us to discuss a bit on different payment methods. Because most of you are in business, or most of you are going to be in business, and there's going to be different methods with which you are going to be paid. And there are methods with which you must expect being paid. And there's different methods for different countries, but I wanted to discuss for one South Africa. So we discussed pricing and we discussed the influence of the market pricing. But let's talk about payment. So now that you've known how to price your product, you've considered the market, how do you expect to be paid? So these are the few different methods for payments in South Africa. Number one is a credit card. This one is a straightforward and popular payment method. A bank or financial services firm can issue a traditional credit card. This enables the cash holders to borrow money to pay for products and services and businesses that accept credit cards. Customers of credit card must repay any amount outstanding along with any relevant interest. They must also pay any other agreed upon fees, whether paid in full before billing date or over time. Now, one of the key advantages of using a credit card for online purchases is the security you get. As long as you promptly report the loss or theft, most credit card companies will reimburse you up to a certain limit. So the first payment method in South Africa to look at is credit card. The second is loyalty card. A business issues a loyalty card to a customer at a place of business. The card is then provided by the customer each time they make a purchase. Points, money, and advance and are then added to the card. In this case, it depends on what the reward business predefined is. Loyalty cards, you guys are familiar with it. Woolworth has got a loyalty card. Cotton On, Clicks, these, Speak and Pay, Checkers, they all have loyalty cards. And the more you use the more you purchase from them, the more rewards you get. You could even find yourself one day that you have 300 in your loyalty card and you don't have to spend any money because you've accumulated points. So loyalty card is also another form of method of payment. Then you've got a payment called PayPal. With over 254 million users worldwide, PayPal is one of the most popular payment methods today. Along with credit and debit cards, it is a great online shopping. So PayPal is an e-commerce payment processing business owned by eBay. It enables customers to create an account and pay a charge for each cash transaction. It is quick, easy to use, and high level of security. All right. Then the other one is MasterPass. MasterPass is a digital wallet service provider by MasterCard. It makes online buying secure, simple, and practical, and super. And MasterPass keeps your payment and shipping information in a single, secure location, and it is then accessed whenever you pay online. MasterPass. The next one is the most common, bank transfer. Not everyone owns a credit card, but you can speculate that the majority of your customers have a bank account where they keep their money. And while internet purchasing is at an all-time high, many still worry about security and providing card information. So you can use bank transfer. And the other one is direct debit. The most frequent use of direct debit payment is a business-to-business cash transaction. That's because they enable automatic recurring payment. You guys debit orders, end of the month by the 1st. You'll get debit orders. It's another way of payment method, you know. Another payment method is e-wallet. Obviously, as a business person, I will advise against it, but I'm just informing you. You know, an e-wallet is an application for mobile devices. It is a type of digital wallet that handles mobile payment. Your password information are securely stored in your mobile wallet. You know, e-wallet is another form of payment method. And then you've got prepaid cards. You know, digital shoppers who do not have access to an account often use prepaid cards. You know, as opposed to gift cards, a specific kind of card that is being loaded with money by a bank or credit card provider. All right, guys. So that's another kind of payment method, prepaid cards. Are we still together? Because, like I said, it's going to be much shorter than before. I want to share with you the last point of discussion. This, for me, is an advice from me to you. Many of us make the mistake of starting business without registering our companies and without having a business account. My advice to all of us that is setting up a business account should be for you as important as registering your business. Setting up a business account should be for you as important as registering your business with CIPC. That is why this is my last piece of advice of today, is why you shouldn't use personal account for business. You know, when you're growing your business, it is an exciting experience. It is also, and it can also be overwhelming at times, resulting in you playing catch up on like important tasks. Tasks like opening a business account to manage your business finance. You know, personal and business banking are different. You know, business costs include any costs included in your bank account that are related to you running of your business. But personal bills are when you buy something for private use that is not related to your business, being a business owner. I'll say it again. Personal banking and business banking are completely different, and they should be kept separately, because the cost that you incur for your business and the cost that you incur as a private individual are completely different. I see the mistake a lot of young entrepreneurs, they start their business, and when it's time to invoice, they are invoicing with their personal account. There's a lot of negative that is attached to that, but from a business presentation level, even your clients don't take you seriously. You need to make sure that you separate your business cost from your personal cost. Though you may start as an individual, but tomorrow you're going to have employees. Tomorrow your company is going to grow, and you can't afford to have only a personal account. As a matter of fact, I know some clients that will not pay your personal account. They'll only pay your business account. And I just put here, you know, some of the common items in business bank accounts include your rent, your utilities, your phone, your office equipment, salaries, insurance, legal, professional fees, consulting, advertising. These are what you have commonly in your business account, but it's not what you have on your personal account. So to further, deepen my discussion on why you should have you should not use your personal account for business, I wanted to discuss the difference between a business account and a personal account. There are a number of reasons why using a personal account instead of a separate business account is not a good idea, but I've just focused on these 5, Number one, why you shouldn't use your personal account as your business account is it causes confusion. As your business grows, the number and the volume of your business transaction will also grow. And at some point, your bank might notice that you are using your personal bank account for a daily business need. And if they do, they are very likely to request that you reserve the use of your account for personal expenses only. Yes, banks do track that. And one reason why your bank may not accept the use of your personal bank account for your business reasons is that they charge different fees for personal and business accounts. Fees for a business account are usually higher, so they are missing out on revenue if you are using a personal account to manage your money for business spending. You may ignore the bank's request, but then you run the risk of having your personal bank account closed by the bank. So you see, guys, if you use your business account as your personal business account, your personal account, apologies, if you use your personal account for business, your bank will pick that up and they'll tell you to move your business into a business account. And if you don't, they'll block your account. So number one, it creates confusion. Number two, it is obviously a bookkeeping headache because carrying on a business requires bookkeeping and accounting tasks. It is not exciting, but there is no way around it. And if you do it correctly, good bookkeeping and accounting serve as the basis of your company's profit and loss summaries. So if you use your personal account as your business account, it becomes very difficult to track money and track expenses. Number four, it will frustrate your clients and you may lose some of them. Some clients, especially large companies, may simply refuse to make payments to personal bank accounts. To ensure they are compliant with company rules, clients may insist on making payments to business bank accounts, opening the name of your company. If you put yourself in their shoes, it makes perfect sense. They want to match the name of the company issuing the invoice with the name of the bank account they are making a payment to. Invoice with the name of bank account they are making payment to. This is to avoid the embarrassing moment when a client asks you for your business account, or worse, you lose the client because you cannot show them. So all you have to do is get a business account. I told you this before, some companies will not even pay you if it's not through a business account. Number five, personal accounts limit your legal structure option. As a small business owner, you may decide to run it as sole proprietorship or as a company. The key difference in business structure is that the sole proprietor is not a legal entity, and therefore, as a business owner, you are personally responsible for business loans. A company is a legal entity separate from the business owner. Under a company structure, the owner does not carry the risk of being personally responsible for debt of the company. Ladies and gentlemen, as promised, today was a lot shorter, but we've come to the end of our sharing today. I hope what we shared today was just an add-on in knowledge. You've understood on the importance of pricing, market prices, and I just put an add on there why you should not use your personal account for business expenses. If you were happy, thank you for the applause, thank you for the hearts. Let me know if you learned something today, and let me know if you have any questions you would like to ask. I made the training much shorter today because I know that you guys have a long weekend ahead of you. So talk to me. Any questions so far? Akane, anybody wants to voice their opinion? Let me know.
There's no one in the chat box. Serious.
You like me? Oh, is that you?
Yeah.
Oh, that is an irrelevant comment.
Oh!
Wow. Can we get more comments? Okay, now you are getting more commenting, laughing.
Temba says, he is happy. If you have any questions and you want me to unmute your mic, just raise your hand and I will unmute your mic. Or you can you can type the questions in the chat box. And also in there, they say thank you. Any questions? So everyone's questions were answered, everyone understood everything that was shared. Lotola says, on my side, well understood, thanks. That's awesome. Anyone else has questions? You can raise your hand or you can type it in the chat box. If there are no other further questions, we could.
Yeah, if there's no question, we can say goodbye, enjoy your long weekend. We'll
No
meet next
questions
week.
on my side. Thank you for the session. God bless you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Have yourself a lovely day further and see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Yes, there's gonna be a homework still. Please make sure you answer them.
Someone has their hand raised.
Okay, who has their hand raised?
Just before we're about to leave, I have unmuted your mic. Mabula, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Mabulana. I don't know if your hand was raised by mistake or. All right, guys, just be on the lookout for the homework and we will see you again next week for week 5. Next week is week 5 on Friday. Thank you. I hope you all have a lovely and safe weekend. Bye.